Hello everyone, it is 1:30 in the morning and I'm wanting to get this video out there to announce that CZn Dex is officially released for version 1 as of today. I'll be adding more features, the memory fragments and ego skills. You can kind of see my plans up here in the about section for what I want to add and what is available today. Currently I have all the combatants base and unique cards and all their epiphanies associated with it. I have the non-event, neutral, and gear cards from Chaoses 1 through 4. I have not accessed 5 yet, and there are some like very specific to an event card and pieces of gear that I just don't have access to. So there's things I want to add, and there's things I'm actively working on to contribute. But for now, this is a deck builder. And you can also just use it to search through cards to see what kinds of cards are in the game. Here's some examples of ways you could do that. For example, if you said, oh, I saw this piece of gear, it says that it turns action points X into X plus 1. What cards from characters have action point X? You can just click this here and you can see, oh, K-Rana has one epiphany here, Echo of Futility. Calliope has her ultimate that is absolute protection that also is based off of X for action points, and Shadow Reload is also X. Okay, those are the ones that would work well with that piece of gear. Alternatively, if you wanted to look for a keyword, you can just type in the keyword like outbreak. You said, oh, outbreak of war. What cards have outbreak of war? Well, it's all these here. And you can look for specific epiphanies. Like you see, Cassius has only one epiphany on his Pop-Eyed Popper, has the outbreak of war tag here. And similarly, like, oh, Hugo has 2. His base card and the epiphany have the outbreak of war tag. And you can look at things. Oh, K-Ron has only 1. And you know, this one here, I forget whose card that is. I think that's Lucas, but yeah, you can see all the different outbreak of wars if you want to synergize with that or something like that. And so there's a bunch of different things. You can also look for upgrades if you want to filter deck. Oh, I want to make a super thin deck. What characters have lots of upgrade options? You can just see, oh, like Hugo has 1, 2, 3, 4 upgrades within his card deck, so he can make his deck super thin. Whereas maybe Amir only has 2 upgrades and you're not likely to get both of those, so she's much more likely to be playing a lot of her cards. And you can get a sense of how thin or how thick a character's deck is going to be at the end based off of how many upgrades they have throughout their deck. So you can look for these kinds of things. There's a bunch of different ways you could filter this. You can look for epiphanies or by element. You can go to town with it. I can add other types of filters as well. You can pull out all the neutrals. If you want to look for a particular character like Orleia and see all the neutrals that work with her, you'll see, okay, the ones that have the psionic and controller filter that she goes with, as well as the generic ones like sadism, what's another one? Arcane Rush, that don't have any class filter on them. And so you can see all the different unique cards that are neutral cards that could pair with her. And so with that, I want to show you an example of a deck and slap some gear on it and call it a day for Orleia, because Orleia is Bay, and we're actually going to name that deck. We're going to call this deck right here, Orleia is Bay. And actually, fun note on this. So the in-game, actually, the default name for decks is save space deck. But if you try to save your deck's name as save space deck, you get an error saying you cannot use more than 8 characters. So the default name for the decks cannot even be used. Like, fix that. Give us a couple more characters. We only get 8 characters to name a deck. We can't even name it save space deck. So anyway, we're going to call it Orleia's Bay, and we're going to put cards in her deck. I am going to just throw something together. I would say one of her attack my minions. I probably want to get rid of another one if I can. It's decent, especially with the potential upgrade that lets it deal 30% or have a 30% chance of creating a creature, but it's not anything I would prefer. I would definitely want to get rid of her heal here. She has better heals. And if I had to pick, my favorite Sacred Sensor would probably be this one, because I want to pair it with a particular gear that I'll show in a second. That's pretty strong. This is the one that has Outbreak of War and Initiative, so slash lead, so it sometimes will be 1 cost, but the main thing is it will create 1 creation card every turn for the rest of the fight. And there are many characters that synergize with creation of creation cards. So we'll pick that one. Growth Acceleration here. All these are good, but I'm going to pick a more defensive one, maybe the Sturdy one. So this is probably my favorite one that can reduce all of your combatant stress. If you remember, there's a neutral card that can reduce 1 random character's stress by 5, but reducing all 3 by 5 is pretty significant. This is one of the best in the game stress reduction engines at this point. So we'll pick that one to be a little more defensive. Annoying, I don't really care here, but this is one of my favorite ones. If you have a constant creation engine, this one will increase your damage similar to a Swifty, but in her annoying card that has retain. Well, let's just put it here for fun. And then creature, let's pick this one here. We already have some decent creature generation with here, and we don't want to worry too much about hand size, but this one will make sure that your creature created through the growing creature epiphany will turn into a sturdy and apply 3 weaken to all enemies. So again, Orlea doesn't want to be the primary DPS. She can do damage, but she's no Haru, she's no Rin, so she'll give this time, give your allies time for them to deal damage with growing creature. And then let's just put Will of Light because it's just such a good card. And yeah, that's kind of her base cards, but then we can also look at all of the neutrals and be like, okay, which neutrals would work well with her? And there's kind of some no regret instant add, like Rally is basically always good, except unless you're being punished for skills with a particular enemy. This is kind of a joke card. I do not know what -1 morale and resolve is, but I probably don't want that in my deck. If I had to pick 2 other cards, Financial Therapy is really good with Orlea early game because she has such consistent heals with her toughies that if you can stall out a fight so you can eventually play this, you can very often get the 30 credits and kind of get an engine going so that you can have good econ coming into the middle of your run. And then probably this one is almost always a good ad as well, and Wanderer of the Void. So these are like 4 options for cards that would be good. So this is my example deck of what we're building for a more defensive Orlea kind of run. I would maybe get rid of Annoying, and you could even duplicate one of these if you're like, oh, I really like the growing creature. Let me add the growing creature. Let's add a second copy of it. Okay, and you could add a second or third or whatever, but let's just go with that for now. And then as far as gear, let's go down here and let's search for, I believe it is Initiative. Yeah, so this is probably one of the most underrated gear in my opinion right now. At the start of turn, activate 1 random initiative card in hand. And I believe that is Lead. I don't think that is Outbreak of War. I might be wrong about that. But either way, Sacred Censor, this particular epiphany, has both of those characters. So it will always show in your hand at the first turn, at the beginning of the turn, and this will activate 1 randomly. So this one will play this card for you for free, so you can save money. Or you can save action points on your first turn, which is really good effect. You can still have a really strong turn 1 while getting your Sacred Censor played, because oftentimes Sacred Censor, especially when it costs 2, is kind of like gimping your first turn, and it plays even more into Orlea's already existing problem of she needs to scale with having to play Sacred Censor first and it being expensive. It can kind of delay your growth. But so we could maybe go for that. Again here, I'm not going to care too much about exactly what I want, but let's give something that gives shield. And you can see here, if you pick a particular planet, it will / chaos, it will force you to stay with that planet. But if you pick something like, okay, you can get some fixed shield. When you set attack cards, you can gain some shield. What's a good one here? When taking damage, gain a shield. At start turn, gain a shield. Plus 10% ally shield game. Again, are there any of these that stand out? At the start of your turn, blah blah blah. When taking damage, blah blah blah. When a card is exhausted, gain shield. Okay, that could be good. Let's pick that one. Now that does force us to be City of Mist, so just assume this is a City of Mist run. There are no shield attack cards that fit in this category, but now we can see if we look for City of Mist, when a card is exhausted, deal more damage. So again, I'm not thinking too hard about this, but on Ravage, deal fixed damage. Ooh, this one's good. Do we care? When an enemy is defeated, too vulnerable. Ooh, 40% attack for attack cards with 0, but that's only her Swifty. Next card used. Okay, let's pick a not legendary, or whatever you call the purple ones. So and there's our deck built, and you can see here, this is 11 cards because we doubled up on the growing creature. We saved it as Orlea's Bay, and voila, that's our deck. And it costs 99,999 TB. I don't know how rare we're gonna get it. It will require us to do the City of Mist run. You could easily replace these two if you wanted to do a different run. And we are gonna click save here. Voila, you get a shareable link, and you can share that with your friends. Nice and short. Now load your deck name, and all your cards right here. They can share with your friends, and they can edit and view, etc. So hopefully this serves 2 purposes. One, you can build decks, and one, you can search all the different cards in the game. I'll be adding more as time goes on. Again, I'm trying to make sure I always also play the game as well. I haven't had much time to play the game in the past few days, but this tool is out there. Hopefully you have fun with it. I'm always open to feedback, so if things aren't working for you, you find bugs, or there's features you want added, please let me know. I'm all ears, and with that, I will catch you in the next one.